Hello and welcome to the Stampscapes lab. This is a preliminary piece that I'm working on right now, and it's in the spirit of Denali for Father's Day. I'm going to finish this off in a live stream shortly, but I'm doing a little experiment here. I've stamped out the base imagery on this piece of semi-gloss cardstock. But for the sky, I just want it just a straight blue, but I want a little bit of variation in it. So I have this light blue, just piece of text weight paper, and it is cut out to 6 by 10. But this is just going to be too just flat. So what I need to do is I need to add in some striations into the sky. And we'll try to have something, I don't know, maybe kind of a little bit wispy, kind of like some clouds in the background. If I can get this down, we'll have to see if I can get enough of this white ink in here. I need to re-ink this here. We need a lot more ink on this totally matte, super absorbent paper here. So I'll ink up my pad. Okay, we are re-inked. Okay, let me get my bearings here. Okay, so it's roughly right here, so I'll have some kind of clouds wisping through. Try to. You should kind of go with a. Just kind of a light touch on here. It's not going to move any faster if you press harder, okay? So just keep it nice and loose and let it develop. It's kind of tricky because in some ways, if you press harder too, what you might be doing is you might be removing ink as much as you are applying it. So you have to kind of get that sweet spot with this thick on thin type of medium here. Or, I don't know, thick on absorbent, I should say, not thick on thin. Okay, so something like this. You can get a little bit streaky. Now, I have to, let's see, this is going to be underneath vellum here, so I'm not even quite sure how much of this is going to be showing, so I'm going to go a little bit more extreme than I would if this were going to be the top layer. So we're going to something like that. We don't need to do anything down below because it's going to get covered. Okay, so see something like that. So see, it just has a lot more, I don't know, just variation, I guess movement too. Let's try to get a couple more of these in. Try to give it a kind of a little variation with a couple like real thick streaks in here. Looks like there's a fold in my card right there. It's kind of picking up that a little bit. Which would kind of bother me, to tell you the truth, if, again, this was going to be my top surface, but it's getting covered up with vellum anyway. So we have something like this right here. I think that looks pretty cool up there in the sky. And I think it gives me enough variation, I guess. Let's see, let's put a little bit more right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, it's really strange, but you're going to put spray adhesive, actually not over that, over the back of this, and then I'll adhere it to this, okay? Then I'm going to take another piece of vellum and we'll spray seal this whole piece, spray adhesive, and I'll put the vellum right over the top of that. So a lot of different layers, but hopefully the thing with vellum is it creates pieces that create a lot of visual depth. Okay, so get some spray sealant on this, or spray adhesive, sorry. Okay, this has a layer of spray adhesive on the back of it. It's called it's by 3M, and it's called Super 77. There's a lot of other spray adhesives out there too. Super 77 seems to work really well, as I'm sure the other ones do too, but I don't know, that's the one that I was recommended, I think, back both when I was in school and afterwards, from people that use different sealants a lot. Okay, now that has been laid down. Now what I need to do is I need to do some coloring on here, and then we'll put some spray adhesive on top of this, and then we'll slap, a layer of the vellum over the top of this. So let's get to coloring some of this, and I'll do some additional coloring on the vellum over the top of this, but we'll get some preliminaries down right now. Okay, we'll see if we can't make some quick work of this, relatively quick work. I was just going to use some colored pencils and some alcohol markers, but I have this big space down here. That's going to be a lot of work to do with colored pencils, or try to blend it with alcohol markers. So I'm just getting a paper towel with some re-inker fluid on there, some light blue. And what we'll do is we'll apply. It's kind of, instead of doing like a negative streak, like light on darker, this is going in and doing dark on light. You can see I got some fingerprints on here. There's some wet black ink apparently still. I'll be careful around this boulders with lichen design. I think that's where some of that wet ink is. I kind of heat sealed it a little bit, or heat dried it a little bit, but not fully, obviously. I'm not someone that really minds about getting fingerprints. I don't want a gigantic fingerprint over someone's face or something like that, but if it's just these little things here and there, it's just like, I don't know, artifacts in the end piece. There's so many things that happen. People often panic a little bit because something's so obvious, when it's white piece of paper and you get this blotch on there or something like that. But we add in so much additional media to the pieces that those little things like little fingerprints or smudges or something like that, they're not going to be so significant in the end result, just because of all the amount, the sheer amount of layering of media and other images that go on top of it. We add in some foreground imagery, stuff like that. Okay, so we got a little bit of a preliminary lighting scheme in here. Okay, so I go with a little bit of light, a little bit of dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, and there's streaks kind of going across there, just kind of to break up the monotony of value. Value is kind of the relative light and dark of a piece. Okay, so as I was doing some of this, I was thinking, I need to get a little bit of green in here. But again, this is going to get covered up with vellum, so I don't want to spend too much time getting anything really colored too, I don't know, precisely, just because I don't know how much of this is going to really be showing through the vellum. It's going to get knocked down. So you just kind of want to get just kind of a general kind of application of color that's going to designate the hue, which would be color scheme, and a little bit of the lighting, I guess. You know, we're going to be adding in. If I make it too dark, I have the acrylic paint pens that will take care of that. And then if I leave it too light, I can always color over the top of the vellum. So you see what I mean? This vellum technique, you really, on this base layer here, you don't really need to address everything as if it were the final piece. It's just like a sub layer. I don't, at least. A little bit of greenish kind of tinge down there for some you know, kind of reflection of those trees. We'll put a little bit of kind of moss growing on these rocks, waterside rocks right here. And I think that's about all I'll really need here. I mean, we could spend a little bit more time. This area back in here isn't supposed to be too... Yeah, there's not supposed to be too much contrast because it, you know, represents something much farther back, and it's supposed to have a certain degree of kind of majesty. So what I did was I made it lighter. To indicate a lot more kind of atmosphere in the air, which lightens up the things that are the most distant. And we have that right there, okay? So pretty easy work. And then I'll do a lot of refinements on the top layering when I can see just how, you know, much of the background we can see. Okay, so this is a 6x10 piece of or card, 2 pieces of paper. So I'll cut out a 6x10 piece of vellum, and then what I'll do is I'll put a layer of spray adhesive over this whole thing, and then we'll come back and we'll put that top layer of vellum right over the entire surface. Okay, this has been applied with that spray adhesive. I have a piece of vellum here. I was going to cut it to 6x10, but it just had a little bit of a overlap, and it's overlap that I would never use, so I'm just going to use this whole piece just so I don't have to get everything matched up so perfectly. I'm kind of going from the center out, okay? I just want to avoid air bubbles or ripples if at all possible. You do get them. Now I'm a little bit worried, like right around on this edge here where it comes down here. I don't want to get some of that I don't want to get some of that space in between there, developing kind of a ripple. One of the things I did last time was, let's put this down like this, and I'll just use this card like this. Just an old, you can use an old credit card or, I don't know, whatever, gift card or something like that, membership card. And that seemed to do a pretty good job. I've used brailleurs a lot over the years, but I don't know, I think that this thing worked better. Everything seemed a little more flush the last time I did this. And we have this, okay. Sometimes you get a little bit of patterning in there. You know, for me it's just, I don't know, it's part of the look, I guess. Just where the contact isn't made, or you get like a couple blotches of spray adhesive. Spray adhesive's kind of newer with a lot of whatever propellant inside. It goes on pretty smooth, but kind of towards the end of life of the can, it's you might get these flecks of adhesive. So when you bond these two, it's like these little spots get in there. I don't think I got too many. I could see a couple little things, but it's really so minor. But anyways, that's our base right here, and what I'll do is I'll trim this down, and this piece will be ready to go for, I wouldn't say the final touches, you know, because I don't know, this is probably like 1/3 of the process right here, but you know, most of it's complete as far as the foundation goes, at least. Okay, so anyways, thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the live stream.